What if the greatest tragedy in life isn't failing, but never pursuing the dream you were born to live? Deep inside every person, there is a dream, a purpose, a calling that refuses to disappear. Yet most people never follow it, not because they can't, but because fear is comfortable and the familiar feels safe. But what happens when one ordinary person chooses to leave comfort behind, to pursue the dream placed in his heart by the dream giver? This is the unforgettable story of courage, purpose, and becoming who you were meant to be. Long before the journey began, there was a place called the Land of Familiar. It was peaceful, comfortable, predictable. The people who lived there woke up each morning, followed the same routines, spoke to the same neighbors, worked the same jobs, and returned home each evening believing this was simply the way life was meant to be. No one expected more. No one dreamed beyond the borders of the familiar, because everyone believed that staying where life was safe was the wisest choice. Children grew up watching their parents and eventually became just like them. Generation after generation, life remained unchanged, not because the people lacked ability or intelligence or potential, but because they had learned to settle, to accept ordinary, without ever asking if there's something more. Yet hidden deep inside every heart was a dream, unique, personal, placed there by the dream giver himself. Most people heard its quiet whisper only once and quickly ignored it, choosing certainty over possibility, comfort over courage, the familiar over the extraordinary. One ordinary morning, everything changed. As Ordinary went about his usual day, he sensed something he had never felt before. It wasn't a voice that everyone else could hear, nor was it something his eyes could see. It was a quiet certainty, deep within his heart. The dream giver had given him a big dream. It was unlike the dreams of anyone else. It was personal, unique, created just for him. At first, Ordinary could hardly believe it. Why me? He looked around at the people of Familiar. Everyone else seemed content. No one spoke about dreams. No one talked about leaving. Life simply continued, as it always had. But no matter how hard he tried to ignore it, the dream refused to disappear. It followed him through every ordinary day, every quiet evening, every restless night. The more he tried to silence it, the louder it became. For the first time in his life, Ordinary realized he had been created for something beyond the borders of the familiar. Making the decision was only the beginning. Actually leaving was far more difficult. To follow his big dream, Ordinary would have to leave the Land of Familiar, the only home he had ever known. The people he loved could not understand. Why would you leave? Everything you need is already here. Why risk everything for a dream? Some thought he was making a terrible mistake. Others believed he would eventually come to his senses. The more Ordinary tried to explain, the less they seemed to understand. Fear began whispering to him, what if they're right? What if I fail? What if I lose everything and never make it back? For a moment, he questioned the dream himself. The comfort of the familiar called him to stay, but deep within his heart, the dream giver's call was stronger than his fear. So with one final look at the only life he had ever known, Ordinary stepped beyond the borders of the familiar and began the journey toward his big dream. Beyond the borders of the familiar, the journey became far more difficult than Ordinary had imagined. The path was no longer comfortable or predictable. Every step required courage. Before he had gone very far, he heard voices, loud, mocking, discouraging. Standing across the path were the border bullies. They laughed at his dream. You're not special. You'll never make it. Turn around while you still can. For a moment, fear tightened its grip. Every insult echoed the doubts already hiding inside his own mind. But Ordinary remembered why he had begun the journey, and one step at a time, he walked past the border bullies. The road continued until the green hills disappeared, and a vast desert stretched before him. The days were long. The nights were cold. Progress seemed painfully slow. There were moments when he wondered if the dream giver had forgotten him, But it was in the silence of the desert that his faith grew stronger than his fear. Then, just when the dream finally seemed within reach, the greatest challenge appeared. Giants, towering over the path before him, each one guarding the very thing he had traveled so far to find. Ordinary realized, the greatest dreams always demand the greatest courage. As Ordinary stood before the giants, he finally understood something the dream giver had been teaching him all along. The journey had never been only about reaching the dream. Every obstacle had been shaping him. The border bullies had taught him to ignore the voices of fear. The desert had taught him to trust even when he could not see. The giants had taught him that courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to move forward anyway. Then Ordinary realized he was no longer the same man who had once lived comfortably in the land of familiar. The timid man who doubted himself had become someone stronger, wiser, more faithful. The dream he had been pursuing had also been pursuing him, quietly transforming him, one step at a time. In that moment, Ordinary discovered the greatest truth of all. The dream giver was never only interested in giving him a dream. He was shaping the dreamer. Perhaps that is the greatest lesson. The dream giver was never only interested in giving Ordinary a dream. The dream was only the beginning. The real masterpiece was the person Ordinary was becoming. Every fear, every obstacle, every disappointment, every step had been transforming him, not into someone different, but into the person he had been created to be all along. Because dreams do more than change our destination. They change us. The dream giver knew that reaching the dream would one day come to an end, but the character forged along the journey would last forever. Perhaps that is why so many people never experience the life they were meant to live, not because they lack ability, but because they never find the courage to leave the familiar. Yet those who dare to trust the dream giver, to walk through fear, to endure the desert, and to stand before the giants, discover something far greater than success. They discover who they truly are. So if a dream has been quietly stirring within your heart, do not ignore it. Do not silence it. The road may be difficult. The obstacles may seem impossible, but every faithful step is shaping you. One day, you may look back and realize the greatest gift was never simply reaching the dream. It was becoming the dreamer. The dream giver always knew you could be